On the Newshour tonight, Gaurav Bhatia of the Samajwadi Party, Fuad Halim of the CPIM are joining our panel. Sunil Alagh makes a comeback on this issue. Look at the GST issue now. Gaurav Bhatia, the Prime Minister states the opposition is divided. He pays you an indirect compliment but ends up saying that the ally of Pawan Verma, the Congress party, is isolated within the opposition. You as an opposition leader, to start with, Gaurav Bhatia, cannot disagree with the facts the Prime Minister has presented. He says there is an ego struggle on part of the Congress party and that is reflecting itself on its position on GST. The opposition is one, Congress party is one. The entire opposition is divided. Gaurav Bhatia, any course correction you want to make in your analysis of what the Prime Minister said? Do you agree with it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Arnab, first of all, I congratulate you for the interview. And I was quite surprised to see the interview where you're treating him with kids' gloves, actually. And addressing him, calling him Mr. Prime Minister was a very welcome change, because at times I've seen you addressing...
No, one second. Just one issue. Listen.
Just let me complete myself.
No. Let me make a point to you. I think if you feel, you see,
so I find
Gaurav, just a minute. Gaurav, let me deal with this absolutely directly with you. I find it unacceptable and strange, and some warped logic is now being presented here, that when you speak to the President of the United States of America, you would say Mr. President. When you would speak to the Prime Minister of UK, you would say Mr. Prime Minister. When you speak to the Prime Minister of India, is it now an affront to say Mr. Prime Minister? You don't expect anyone to address the Prime Minister by his first name, and that oversimplified thing is perhaps not correct. Now let's go back to the subject.
When you address the other,
I think your mode of address was correct.
You will not shy away from saying that, Mr. Chief Minister, please answer that. That is my only point.
No, so basically what you're saying, one second, just a point. I am placing on record my complete, absolute and utter disagreement with you in your questioning the reference to an interview with the Prime Minister when I call him Mr. Prime Minister. I think Mr. Prime... I think this is... So you would like me to say to you, Gaurav Bhatia, listen. Gaurav Bhatia, you're basically... I get your tone. I get your... Mr. Gaurav Bhatia, listen, with a couple of points here, right? We asked a fairly substantive question was asked here about the Prime Minister saying there are cracks in the opposition. He didn't use the word cracks, but now allow me to complete my sentence because I didn't interrupt you there. The point is simply this, that there's a message that the entire opposition cannot be clubbed as one bloc against BJP, right? Your comments on why did you call him Mr. Prime Minister, etc., I think are irrelevant to the context, and I think I did the right thing by calling him Mr. Prime Minister. Your point is I should now address Akhilesh as Mr. Chief Minister, and maybe you will also say that I should refer to you as Mr. Spokesperson. Now, let's leave that to individual judgment. Let's address the issue. The issue is on the issue of GST. The Prime Minister, by referring to the current arithmetic, and I really want a substantive comment on these issues raised. We were having one so far.
Now, can I respond to that?
He says even if the Congress continues to resist, I'm hopeful the GST will be passed in the upcoming session. That is the point. Can we go back to the issue,
I'd like to come in because I have to leave a little.
I'm coming to you. I just want to get a comment from
the Prime Minister. For the Prime Minister to assume that all the political parties are against good moves of the government, I think is being very presumptuous and is not fair, because all political parties act in the interest of the nation and take their own decisions. However, I would just like to remind Mr. Narendra Modi also that even on crucial bills like the land acquisition bill, when the ruling dispensation failed to take the other political parties
but let him complete, Nalin.
They faced a hurdle. So I think it is not right to say that barring one party, all the parties are with the government or GST. On GST, Arnab, talking about the state of Uttar Pradesh.
Are you against GST?
We had initial reservations.
Are you against
we pointed
GST?
out certain changes.
Let's talk
Those
clearly.
were
Are you
carried
against
out,
the GST?
And that is the reason now we are
you
supporting
against the GST? Are you against? Are you against the GST? 1 second, we see a first counter. And Gaurav, Gaurav, you're staying on the debate. You're staying on the debate. You're staying on the debate.
But
staying on the debate. Opening it up with Nalin Kohli with the first rebut. Nalin Kohli is the first rebut. Sir, 1 minute.
All the finance ministers who met together and have agreed, are they going without the chief minister's permission?
Okay, fine. Now, I'll come back to you. Now, Nalin Kohli is also countering that. Nalin Kohli is countering that. Please, Gaurav, hear the rebuts. Nalin, just a minute, one at a time. Nalin Kohli.
But we have suggested some changes.
Nalin Kohli is countering you, sir. Nalin, now, please, Nalin.
And make proper amendments.
The first is, with regard to GST, the government is talking, and there has been a concerted exercise on, including with the Congress party, with all parties. I mean, we had this meeting also that took place with all finance ministers, where Arun Jaitley as finance minister was leading it. So that effort is on because GST is in national interest. It's not something about the BJP or Congress. The Congress
Nalin bhai initially
championed the bill, fathered the bill in that sense.
Today they are opposing it. Confidence.
Yes.
And now we are happy that the changes that we suggested.
May I just finish my point without interruption? I heard you patiently. I'm saying it's in national interest, and therefore the government is reaching out. With regard to the Prime Minister's comment, look at what a comment he says. If it means me, in the interest of the country, even going and meeting someone, and that's the Congress party indicated in terms of Pratishtha, I would be happy to go. What do we hear from the Congress leader in the press conference? We've heard many things about tea. He's met many leaders on tea. We'll see. Did they even think that the Prime Minister of India, no less than the Prime Minister of India, saying
Pawan Verma is rebutting.
In the national interest.
Pawan Verma is a rebut. He has his hand raised. Gaurav, Pawan Verma is rebutting.
State my position clearly.
First of all, just a minute. Gaurav, I'll come to you. Gaurav, we have full turn. 1 second. We have full turn. I'm just turning it around. I'm letting everybody come into the debate at this point of time. And I want to reiterate right now, what did the Prime Minister do? He said, I'm coming to you, Pawan Verma. He linked the passage of the GST to the fate of poor people in states like Bihar, UP, West Bengal, Odisha. And please understand, I don't know if Gaurav Bhatia did not understand Prime Minister's Hindi. The Prime Minister praised all opposition, including your party, except the Congress party. What he said was that the Congress was isolated on the subject, which is in terms of fact not incorrect. Pawan Verma. But yes, he also made a larger point.
Federal polity of the country. I am talking about instances where Mr. Narendra Modi forgot about regional parties or state governments which are non-BJP.
Okay.
That is the question I raised.
Okay. Now 1 second. I am giving the turn right to Pawan Verma, please. Pawan Verma first. Gentlemen, Pawan Verma first. Please, gentlemen, Pawan Verma first. And then Nalin Kohli have a right to rebut.
What Nalin Kohli said.
Yeah.
And what the Prime Minister said. Let me say that the JDU supports the GST bill.
That's the point.
We would like it to come.
That's the point.
Let me add that I believe the sticking points on the bill are now zeroed down to 2 or 3, and they are entirely amenable to sustained negotiation to be resolved. Let me add that I was deeply touched by the Prime Minister's humility, but if that humility got translated to his party making a more concerted effort to reach out to the opposition, by now, if they were really interested, the GST bill would have been passed.
No, Nalin will respond.
And I say this now again without partisan politics. Please understand that this government's outreach to the opposition is one of the poorest ever seen in our democratic history. The GST was amenable to sustain negotiation, intercessions between Parliament,
but he did
and we would have found a solution. Now that the Prime Minister has said so, I hope that the GST bill will be passed and the 3 sticking points will find an amenable solution.
No, I am not getting a clear reply to the question.
I will not
the answer was, the question was, Nalin Kohli coming, he said only the Congress party is holding up the GST bill. That's what he said, Pawan Verma. As per the Prime Minister, he said it's a clear-cut example of how it's isolated in the opposition. He named your leader Nitish Kumar. He named your leader Nitish Kumar. He named Gaurav Bhatia's leader Akhilesh Yadav. He named Mamata Banerjee, all members of the opposition who have backed the GST. So what was the point out there? He was accusing your ally of obstructionism.
So that it clarify matters once and for all.
Which matter? Which matter remains to be clarified on?
Which is that we support the GST bill.
Yes, so then...
But if there are 2 or 3 points, for instance, I'll give you the point about placing the GST rise in tariffs in the constitution or as part of the bill. We are flexible on it. But it's a matter which needs to be negotiated between the treasury benches and the opposition in a structured manner.
Okay, one second. By claiming, when he said, "Main jaake chai piyunga, zarurat hogi to." So what was he doing? He was saying, "I'll do another outreach if required." With the Congress. He says, "I'm going to do another outreach if required."
In the last 1 year.
Is he? Okay, fine. I get a response. Nalin Kohli is countering you on this, please. Nalin Kohli, on 9:40 p.m. Nalin Kohli on that, please. Yeah, Nalin.
Look at the irony of what an argument
Whose argument?
Verma ji is making out. If there is today a consensus, that consensus obviously is because an attempt to create that consensus has been built over a period of time. No less than the Prime Minister invited Mrs. Sonia Gandhi and former Prime Minister to his house.
BJP was opposing the bill.
This whole effort, may I, Mr. Verma, please. I recall it very clearly. I have been on debates also pointing out why the BJP was opposing it. So I recall that, but the context is different and the reasons were different.
Fuad Halim.
Reasons were eliminated. You can't have the centre bulldozer state. However, with regard to...
Okay, is the opposition divided?
If consensus has today been built up, courtesy this government, courtesy everyone's participation...
Opening the debate, Fuad Halim has to come in. Gaurav Bhatia wants to make a comeback.
To the Congress party.
Okay.
What is the Congress party doing?
Fuad Halim of the CPIM from Kolkata responding to Nalin Kohli, please. Nalin Kohli, Fuad Halim responding to you tonight, and may I make a point here tonight, Nalin Kohli, that also keep in mind the point the Prime Minister was making was, yes, in the context of GST, but you cannot deny that there was a larger point that was being made about divisions and cracks within the opposition and an attempt to isolate the Congress within. Because, for example, he spoke about the Compensatory Afforestation Management and Planning Authority Act, which was not allowed to be passed, and he said that causes an establishment of a 40,000 crore afforestation fund. In other words, he was saying the Congress party is working against the interest of states. It was argument made in the context of the larger debate on federalism.
Correct.
So he was accusing the Congress party of not working in the interest of states. Yes, Fuad Halim, please. Fuad Halim.
Well, very clearly, the GST bill has a checkered history. This is the second BJP government that is engaging with the GST question, and we've already seen 2 Congress governments grapple with it. We've seen the BJP and the Congress exchange positions on the GST, but what I'm specifically worried about, that every time the Prime Minister mentions chai, I get apprehensive that is he going to take the nation for a ride once again. We know his chai associations and how he's been taking the nation for a ride. Now let's be very clear. Let's be very clear on 2-3 questions. The GST rate
Nalin raises his hand. Nalin raises his hand and counter to you.
And we have
what is this inferiority complex, if I may say, that everyone has a problem with chai, which is the national drink. Just because Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji sold tea comes from that segment, why does everybody keep picking on it? I'm unable to understand. And is West Bengal going to wish away the Dwars and the areas including Darjeeling? I mean, you produce some of the finest tea in the world, and then you say that chai is about taking people for a ride. Do you not even consume tea? I mean, I'm amazed at where is this argument
Pawan
going?
Verma is laughing on the debate. One second. The debate is not on that. One second. Calm down, gentlemen. Calm down. The issue is, what is the issue? Okay, let Fuad Halim complete his point.
Debate on. Let's first
Fuad is completing the point.
Why I'm laughing, Arnab?
Have you stopped drinking tea and therefore want to impose that on others? Are you going to be Darjeeling moves?
Fuad,
Where are we
please.
headed? What is this debate?
I think the PM's comment is being devalued by Nalin.
That the
PM meant Chai Pe Charcha as a metaphor to hold discussion. And Nalin is talking about the
I'm
tea made
referring,
in West Bengal.
I'm referring to what our colleague from the left party is saying.
1 second, can the colleague,
holding that the Prime Minister's
can the
unity
person
was
you
on
describe
display
as the
there.
colleague from the left party is complete his point? It's not right to do that. 1 second. Let Fuad, no, I'm giving Fuad 30 more seconds. He was interrupted in between. Gaurav, we must be fair. Fuad heard you, therefore I let Fuad complete. Go on, Fuad.
Well, let's be very clear. 3 points I want to make very quickly. That the GST rate has not been determined, yet the finance minister says that India's GDP is going to rise by 2%. I don't understand that logic. Number two, the group of finance ministers clearly recommended that the GST councils will have recommendatory power. They will recommend to the state legislatures. They will recommend to parliament. That seems to be to be changing.
You're not answering the question. No. You're not answering the question.
That they are moving to a position.
No. You're not. No. 1 second. You're not answering the question. Fuad. 1 second. Just a minute. Fuad, can I have your attention, please? You're not answering the question. You're not answering the question. What was the words used by the Prime Minister out here? Let's keep that in mind. The words used by the Prime Minister was Pratishtha ka sawal or prestige issue. And my simple question here tonight is, Gaurav Bhatia, be fair about this. Is the Prime Minister off the mark when he says that the Congress is making it a prestige issue? Is it not a prestige issue when a bill that was proposed, Pawan Verma, by the UPA stopped in its tracks despite an overwhelming consensus by your ally, the Congress Party, who you are protecting on the Newshour tonight from your own criticism? Is it not a prestige issue when the Congress decides to block a bill to rob this government for the credit of its passage? And is it not the Congress making it a prestige issue when? Allow me to complete. Allow me to complete the 3 changes. No, on the 3 changes that the Congress Party now wants in the bill, they were not raised by the Congress Party when it was in power. Why have they cropped up now? If it is not for a prestige issue, Pawan Verma? Why have they cropped up now?
Answer that.
Okay, let me answer
First of all, the UP government is now supporting the GST bill. But can the BJP deny the fact that earlier the UP government and other state governments also had a lot of problems with the GST bill? The BJP government
issue is the Congress making it a prestige issue?
Only
issue
because
is that
we persisted that they listened to us and they incorporated the changes.
Okay, Nalin responds. Let's keep it short. Nalin is responding. He got the gist of your question. Nalin, 30-second response. Nalin, 30-second response. Then I'm coming to Pawan Verma. 30-second response from Nalin Kohli, please. Nalin Kohli, 30-second response.
When the federal structure was destroyed, was of land acquisition
Gaurav, let's keep it short.
Where none of the state governments were consulted.
I'm coming to you. Gaurav Bhatia.
The land acquisition bill was
Gaurav, the question is about the prestige. Gaurav, listen, please. Let's keep it very short. So I want quick intervention.
May I now answer this, Mr.
Nalin Kohli, 30 seconds to respond. Yes, please. But don't stray.
Yes.
Let's be focused on the issue of the prestige
The Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi ji, clearly says, I'm willing to go down and meet anyone. If it's even Pratishtha ki baat hai, mujhe koi dikkat nahi, he's willing to go.
But Nalin, why does it only happen before the parliamentary
the government
session?
wants to,
Why
and the
can't
opposition
this
has
dialogue be a
responded.
continuous
The Congress
process
doesn't seem interested.
Where regional governments are also consulted.
Alok Mehta is countering as well. Alok Mehta is on the debate. Alok Mehta is on the debate. Alok Mehta is live. Sorry, Alok Mehta, please. Alok Mehta. Pawan Verma, stay on. The debate is getting interesting. Wait a minute. Alok Mehta is countering you. After that, Nalin Kohli. Alok Mehta and Nalin Kohli, please. Yeah. Only Alok Mehta and Nalin Kohli now, please. Yeah. Alok Mehta कह रहे हैं कुछ आपको नलिन कोहली सुन लीजिए. सुनिए, बोलिए Alok Mehta.
Mr. Gaurav Bhatia, it is possible that you have not followed what the Prime Minister of India has said a million times of competitive federalism, cooperative federalism. We want to build India as a cooperative federalism. So, I mean, you missed the message. If you missed it, I can't you can't hold the Prime Minister, the government, or us responsible.
Nalin, listen to him.
Nalin ji, just listen, one sentence. Prime Minister Modi ji accepted that he can go for a tea for anybody with any leader, but remember, कोई मक्खी जब चाय में गिर जाती है, सुब्रमण्यम स्वामी जाके कुछ गाली देने लगते हैं, क्या नायडू जी कुछ बोल देते हैं, तो सारा मोदी जी के एफर्ट को खराब कर देते हैं, वो जेटली जी के एफर्ट्स को डाउन कर देते हैं. आप अपनी पार्टी को ठीक क्यों नहीं करते हैं?
No, 1 second.
आप अपनी पार्टी को सुब्रमण्यम स्वामी का मुंह बंद नहीं कर सकते 1 महीने के लिए? आप 1 महीने, 1 दिन के लिए, 1 हफ्ते के लिए बंद नहीं कर सकते।
ऐसा है।
और उसके बाद आप मोदी जी को
नो पर्सनल कमेंट्स प्लीज, सम एनालॉजीज बेस्ट अवॉइडेड। Alok Mehta, listen please. I don't want this debate to descend to crudity. Let's, even in our analogies, let us, no, 1 second, I want to make a point here. I want to make a point here. Nalin Kohli, 1 minute. Nalin Kohli, 1 minute. Nalin Kohli, 1 minute. 1 minute. I'll just make a point here. Alok Mehta, you're a seasoned senior journalist. However much you have disagreements with Subramaniam Swami, 1 minute, just 1 minute, just 1 minute, just 1 minute, just 1 minute. However much your disagreement with Subramaniam Swami, and we too very often question what he has said, I would say, in the context of the debate, let us not use analogies which may be inappropriate for even your strongest political rivals. Now Nalin Kohli is responding. Pawan Verma is here. Pawan Verma will respond. Nalin Kohli and Pawan Verma will respond. Go on, Nalin Kohli, go on, please. The issue is on the prestige issue.
I think, I mean, at the end of the day, I would say I have for many years seen and I continue to treat Alok ji as with the respect of a senior journalist that he deserves to be. Why stoop to this level in terms of making personal comments?
Okay, fine.
Isko makhi bulao, usko makhi bulao, ye chahe main kar do, uska muh band karao. Then you want me to quote the Constitution? The Prime Minister has spoken on that issue in this interview.
Pawan Verma.
Listen to the interview before you criticize for the sake of criticizing.
Arnab,
Pawan Verma, the issue is about whether the Congress party is blind to the reality of its own isolation within the opposition, and whether it is made it a prestige issue in the context of GST. That is simply the issue.
Arnab, can I come in?
That is simply the issue. I'm coming to you first, Pawan Verma, and then I'm coming to you.
Now the question was asked to me.
Pawan Verma will speak. Sunil Alagh will respond. Go on. Yeah.
My simple point is that if Congress party is making the GST a prestige issue, exclusion of all merit on the 3 sticking points, we would criticize it. But if the points that have been raised have some merit and deserve to be negotiated and discussed, I would request the Prime Minister to instruct his ministers and his colleagues to follow up on what was his public stated comment that without any prestige he is willing to go the extra mile to find a consensus and pass the GST bill. That's the correct approach. So far, let me add as a last footnote, the BJP's outreach to the opposition on the GST, believe me Arnab, has been lacking. I mean, let us not have a program where you admit of no criticism of what could be remediable within the treasury benches of the BJP.
Can I respond? Pawan, can I respond to your thing?
May I?
1 second. Nalin, let me just say 1 or 2 things. I think, look, the reason why perhaps BJP didn't go into and reach out to the opposition as much as they should have was because they thought the GST bill, which was the Congress's bill, was something which could be done straight away, and they didn't think it was necessary. 1 second, just let me finish. 1 minute, Pawan. Now I didn't disrupt your thing. Let me think. The second thing is 1 second. If it is not a prestige, if it is not a prestige issue, now when we were passing that rape law about 18 years old and whether it should be below 18 or 16,
what's the relevance?
There were 9 questions asked by Rajya Sabha, and they were not happy with it. Why did they pass it? Because they knew outside if they went, they wouldn't get the votes, including your party. Maneka Gandhi put up a bill which was full of flaws. Everybody just said, well, I don't agree with this, but let's pass it. Therefore, it is a prestige issue that you all have made on GST. And you all don't care
when you say you all means what? You're talking about Congress party.
Congress, fundamentally it was Congress. And everybody
Gaurav Bhatia is countering.
1 second, and everybody else over there was following whatever the Congress said.
Gaurav.
And you say it wasn't a prestige issue?
Gaurav and then Fuad Halim, please.
You can't just take one issue as prestige and say the other is okay.
As of now, the Congress, as of factual intervention, Gaurav, factual intervention, Congress, besides Congress, which other party? Besides Gaurav,
the
listen.
BJP
Gaurav,
and
besides
the
Congress, which other party?
The Indian Parliament also constitutes a lot of regional parties who have a considerable say, and that is the democratic process. Now, the GST hits at the very federal structure, so all the regional governments also should have been consulted. The very same thing happened during the land acquisition bill. And land acquisition bill failed to pass. After that, an ordinance was brought and ordinance was withdrawn. That itself shows that somewhere the art of reaching out to the
I would request Gaurav Bhatia. Gaurav, a minute. Gaurav, a minute. Listen, Gaurav, when you are wrong, you must accept you are wrong. When you make factual mistakes, you must admit you made factual mistakes. When you present a fact which is wrong, you must make it tonight, and I'm really sorry. But I'm going to have to tell you right now that you're utterly, completely wrong, and you will have to listen to why I think you are wrong. And if you're wrong, you must have the humility to say, I said something factually incorrect.
Tell me. If I'm wrong, I'll
tell you. On the 19th of August 2015, if you want to know where in Badaun, your leader, Mr. Yadav, said the following: we will not oppose the GST bill at all. And he was asked why. He said, because all our suggestions have been accepted by the centre. How can you now come and say that we are not part of a consultative process? I'm really not understanding what you're saying.
What about the period
this is what your leader said.
19th August 2015?
Pardon me?
Arnab, when we were not being consulted?
Nalin will respond to that. Come on. Did your leader say हमने जितने सुझाव दिए थे वो accept हो चुके हैं? You are changing the topic, Gaurav. You are changing the topic, Gaurav. You are changing the topic, Gaurav. You are changing. 1 second. Just no, 1 second. Don't interrupt, please, right now. Are you changing the subject? 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 You don't have an answer. Why don't you acknowledge what your leader said? Nalin Kohli is rebutting, but why don't you acknowledge what your leader said?
Prior to 19th August 2015.
Your leader, 1 second, 1 minute. 1 minute. Your leader said, don't change the subject, Gaurav. Don't change the subject, Gaurav. Did your leader say it or not say it? Did your leader say it or not say it? It's simple. I have one question tonight. Did your leader say it or not say it? Did your leader say it or not say it? Gaurav, did your leader say this or not say it? That's all I'm asking you tonight. Did your leader say it or not say it?
We persisted for those changes. We persisted for the changes.
Your leader said. Did your leader say it or not say it?
May I, Mr. Goswami?
Did your leader say it or not say it? Simple. Don't change the subject.
No, Arnab, I think if you will only like to discuss the GST bill and forget other important bills which have an impact on the federal structure, then
Nalin Kohli is responding. 9:56 p.m.
The GST bill.
1 second.
Is no other point we are discussing.
Mr. Goswami.
Okay, Nalin Kohli, please. And then closing this part of the debate. Fuad Halim hasn't spoken much. I'll give him the last word tonight. Fuad Halim, is the opposition divided or not?
Can't answer that because it's an embarrassment for
Fuad, if the opposition is divided.
In August 2015, Akhilesh Yadav ji says that there has been consensus or we are agreeable. That means the process preceded 2015 August. So that obviously means that the process of consultation and etc.
The original draft of the bill.
This is a charge.
That is what I am questioning. And it is only when we created pressure on the central government that they started consulting the UP government.
Is saying that we need GST.
The central government was never interested in constructive consultation. Only after the state government built pressure did the central government consulted us and then accepted our changes.
And that is the time to understand why Gaurav Bhatia with an argument that unfortunately has no foundation.
Fuad.
Delivering in favor of the people of India.
No, but Fuad, I mean, at one point, if a consensus has been created...
parties. So start consulting political parties rather than living in isolation and not listening to the voice of regional parties.
Okay. On this point, I think we've debated enough.
Dangling the carrot and trying to structure the entire what you call taxation system of the GST in favor of what you call the capitalist interest, I think so will be detriment to the people of India.
I think there is a division within the left on the GST issue.
A quick comment.
There's a division within the left which is known about the GST issue. I suggest you may want to resolve that before taking a firm position on it. Fuad, I'm closing this part of the debate. I'm closing this part of the debate. I thank you all gentlemen for joining me in this part of the debate on what the Prime Minister said in the interview on the issue of GST and the Congress being isolated. Much more coming up on the other side, especially the Prime Minister's comments on the divide between Rawalpindi and Islamabad. That's a big debate in a few minutes. Don't go away.